How did we get here? In my mind, it is the diminishing of our spirituality. It is the removal of God from our culture, the degradation of our morality. It is the hypersexualization of our society, and it is the atheistic amalgamation of science and governance that has led us away from the natural world, and in doing so, the natural creator, the creation itself, and its purpose. It's trapped us in a godless loop of manipulative news cycles, of fear porn and cortisol boosts, and they're fueled by trauma-based abuse. This abuse serves a very important purpose of removing faith from Western society. And that's a dangerous endeavor in and of itself, but it poses an even bigger problem. The loss of faith means the loss of salvation. Now, most human beings innately look for salvation in some form or another. And if you remove a natural creator, it creates a void, and that void needs to be filled. So currently, many people look to leaders, quote unquote, of different communities, different backgrounds, and they're still looking to fill that void of salvation. They look to the internet talking heads, they look to the alternative media types, and they look to politicians. Now, that latter category of politicians, they are the most important one. This group has most replaced that salvation void in Western society. They are the new demigods. They're trusted with extreme authority and limitless rule in exchange for our safety. Now, this, of course, suits that divide and conquer narrative perfectly, as half flock to the left, half flock to the right, and they both fuel the wings of the same bird that is flying to the exact same destination. It's the age-old false binary. Left versus right, black versus white, vaxxed versus unvaxxed, pro this versus anti that, the list goes on. Now, on my side of the equation, which is the conservative, the right wing, as we call ourselves, unironically, unfortunately, we tend to get divided by fear porn. Now, the latest version of what I call fear porn is with the train derailments. We're seeing truthers crying out that chemicals are poisoning the water and that we can't eat anything from the farms in that area. Sean Hannity from Fox News has called for FEMA camps and relocation programs. Your reaction to the derailment is the psyop. We saw the exact same storyline with COVID. Just hear me out. It started with leaked footage from China, right? And then talking heads on the internet started screaming about people dying in the streets in China and how the end of the world virus was coming out of there to the West. Eventually, it went mainstream. Your Sean Hannitys and your CNNs picked it up, and the psyop was in full swing. Now, here we are, 3 years into COVID, and we have so-called truthers making nonsense claims about black mushroom clouds, poisonous drinking water, and relocating the Amish community. Once again, your reaction is the psyop. Just like with COVID, fear is the virus. They used flu season to make you believe in a plague. And most people did believe them because most people have made their governments their savior. Now, the same thing is happening with trains. Fear porn is being passed around the truther community, but in reality, your reaction is what is being used to justify the land grabs, the plea for FEMA camps, the halting of farming, the relocation of Amish. Just like with COVID, the reaction was used to justify the mandates. This type of behavior is what allows government to play the role of savior. This is how we end up believing and following different politicians regardless of what keeps happening. It's the definition of insanity for us to keep asking our abuser to stop abusing us. It is time to stop masturbating to the fear porn.